might not suck this year.
This is the Baseball Hour with Tony Maz.
Me.
Presented by Bigelow Tea, Jackson Lumber, Blue Moonlight, Wellesley Testosterone, FindMassMoney.com, Gem Plumbing, and by Golf. On Boston's home for sports, 98.5.
That is Chris Cantillo of Mass Live just a couple of minutes ago, indicating that the trade deadline has come and gone, and the Red Sox deals Steven Matz, left-handed pitcher from the St. Louis Cardinals, Dustin May, right-handed starter. Matz is a reliever, May is a starter from the Los Angeles Dodgers. And again, that's all source confirms. 617-779-0985. And that noise you hear is a big, wet fart with a whole lot of nothing behind it. So there you go. Trade deadline comes and goes, and some big names moved. Some big names moved to competitors of yours in the wild card race. The Texas Rangers got, Jimmy, you're going to have to help me. I get so many things going through my head right now. Who's the, Merrill Kelly? The right-hander went to the Texas Rangers. The Seattle Mariners picked up a couple of hitters for the middle of their lineup. Some of this goes back a couple of days. Josh Naylor, left-handed batter. Eugenio Suarez, third baseman from the Arizona Diamondbacks. Most of the competitors and contenders in the American League made what I would call significant moves to fortify their teams. Not all of them. The Red Sox picked up what I'd call your run-of-the-mill left-handed acquisition, and they picked up a starting pitcher with a 5 ERA from a team that is vying for the World Series and apparently, in the Dodgers, couldn't get rid of Dustin May fast enough.
And if you're listening to the end of Felger and Maz, Jimmy Stewart was hot on Joe Ryan to the Red Sox. Jimmy, what are you hearing here in the last couple minutes?
So I've heard a couple different things. One is that Red Sox ownership declined to make the deal. The other was that the Twins were not happy with the prospects that were going from Boston to Minnesota. And it went right up until the buzzer.
And you had also reported that Griffin Jax, the reliever there from Minnesota, might have been in on the package. Reports are that
he's now going to Tampa per Jeff Passan.
Griffin Jax is headed to the Tampa Bay Rays. So he was available. He was being traded, just not to you.
I mean, the Twins ripped it apart. Again, they completely decimated their bullpen. Duran and Jax both were sent out the door. There were a lot of people thought that they were going to move just Duran and keep Jax, who's making, I don't know, $2.5 million or something like that. Obviously, they were entertaining discussions on Ryan, and there were plenty of candidates out there who were dealt, wanted to be dealt. The Red Sox ended up, in terms of impact players, with 0.0. So if you are a Red Sox fan out there, I think you have a right to be agitated. Rafael Devers went out the door. $15 million was saved this year, let alone $30 million in each of the coming 8 years or 7 years or whatever was left on that contract. The team is in contention. The young players are here, and yet no significant acquisition at the deadline. So you want my opinion? I'll give you mine first. We'll get to your calls because I see 1 million of you lined up. If I were you, I'd be pissed. I'd be pissed. There was an opportunity to make a move here and to really, and in fact, on the Twins, I'm willing to bet if you pushed them hard enough, the Twins would have moved them. They moved everybody else.
They were selling everybody.
So if you're a Red Sox fan, I think you should be pissed. In fact, I would argue if you're a Red Sox player, you should be kind of pissed. So I want to read something to you quickly. I sent this to Jimmy Stewart, our producer, just a couple of minutes ago, because Trevor Story said something a couple of days ago and about the team's activity heading into the deadline. And he said, I really think they're looking for the right way to do it. And that's exciting. That's fun, especially in this town, man. It's about winning. And we have an opportunity to do that and reinforce our team a little bit. It's exciting, especially now, because we feel like we've been building on this for a couple of years, and now here we are, and I feel like this organization, we're in a great spot to do it. Wrong. Apparently ownership didn't feel the same way, and neither did management. It kind of go hand in hand. Sean in Salem, what do you got?
Yeah, first of all, Breslow just spent 4 days in Minnesota and didn't get a deal done, so
he doesn't need to placate me that he's really trying at the last minute, right? But why bother in the offseason signing the best free agent pitcher and position player available, bringing up your young stars, wasting a year of service time, which are all bad business moves if you're not willing to take the final step. The fan base was ready to buy in. The coach was even willing to stick around for September. Instead, all the momentum was lost. It's pathetic, and it's not going to change ever, guys, ever.
So this is the thing. You look at it and say, at what point are they going to be willing to extend themselves and do something significant, particularly in the middle of a season? At what point? What's it going to take? You're just going to hold on and hoard your prospects all the time so you can control salary? That's it. That's the goal now. Let's control the payroll. It's not about winning the championship anymore. It's about going 88 and 74 every year.
They'd take 95 wins, but they're not going to extend themselves to do it.
That's really what it feels like.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what it has been. Jack in Shrewsbury. Jimmy, you're going to have to punch him up. He's on line 6 because I froze up here. Jack, what do you got?
Dustin freaking May. Being a Red Sox fan feels like you're in a Saw movie, and I got to cut my foot to escape this awful ownership. I mean, at this point, who do you blame more? Is it Breslow, or is it the ownership kind of restricting him, saying, here's what you can get, try to make what you can out of this crap? But I don't even know. And one more thing, the mayor for the arbitration. You're right.
Okay, Jack, I'm going to let you go on that just because it's sort of a different topic.
Breslow or ownership?
It starts with ownership. It always starts with ownership. But I'll tell you what, it goes hand in hand. I'm not sure Breslow's got the balls to make a big deal. He didn't want Bregman. Let's not forget that. Bregman was not the guy he wanted. They probably had to push him into that. And on the Crochet deal, again, I don't know. I think Theo's there in part to babysit him. So I'm not sure that when push comes to shove, is Breslow really the kind of guy that's going to look at ownership and say, listen, we got to do this, and they're going to listen to him. So I think part of the reason they ultimately gave him the job, 2 reasons. One, nobody else wanted it. And secondly, when you really examine it, they wanted a guy who wasn't going to push back too much. So Theo can kind of stand out of the way, serve as a liaison or a buffer between Breslow and ownership, but at the end of the day, he's not going to fight with ownership anymore because he's part of them.
I think it's ownership. If they said to him, don't worry about the tax and don't worry about your Baseball America rankings, we've built up the system, it's where we want it to be, we have a chance this year, I think they would have been more aggressive. I think it starts up top.
So that's fair. I mean, again, I'm not sure that I just don't have the faith that he actually would have done it. Matt and Waltham on the Red Sox absence of a move. Go ahead.
I don't even know why I bother anymore, guys. This is ridiculous. These guys are cowards.
A lot of people feel like you. Keep going.
I don't know whether to be just more mad or disappointed. It's the same thing every single year. And now the air is out of the balloon. Here comes the second half collapse. The manager's going to start pouting. Here we go again for like the 4th year in a row. I don't even know why I bother at this point, guys.
So I do want to see how Cora responds to this.
You bet.
It's a good question because I can't imagine that Cora would be too happy about it either. My guess is he's going to bite his tongue because I feel like he's been reined in, Mike, and brought back onto the bus, so to speak, and that he's on board. And, he's going to say, we have enough to do here, what we want to do, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I can't see him putting up a big stink.
Nope, not anymore, not since he got the contract.
Jimmy Stewart, just quickly, and out of curiosity and nothing else, has there been anything reported on what they gave up for Dustin May? Because I guarantee you it was nothing.
Josh Tibbs III, one of the players that they got for Rafael Devers.
Is he the first baseman?
The DH, the suckbag outfielder who hits left-handed too.
So the guy that they were saying had a chance at, to become some sort of hitter and really tap in, I think he was a high draft pick.
He was drafted 1 spot before Brendan Montgomery, the outfielder that they took and traded for Garrett Crochet.
Okay, so you know what this means? This means that when they traded for him, they knew he sucked. Because they didn't waste any time flipping him to the Dodgers.
For a 5th starter?
Yeah, they couldn't get rid of him fast enough for Dustin May. So great. Take now that's Jordan Hicks and Tibbs. You can already take out of the pool of the players that they got for Rafael Devers, which brings us back to that was a salary dump. It was a salary dump. Josh at his desk. Josh, what do you got, pal?
What's going on, guys? I am so freaking disgusted by this. Dustin May, I mean, he can't stay on the field. You know, he's got a 5 ERA. Like, such a move for us. The Dodgers are depleted, and we go get a guy they don't even want. It's so sickening. Joe Ryan should have been on that freaking plane back here with us. You know, does this come down to us not wanting to deal prospects, like, you know, shell out for Joe Ryan? Because if that's it, that is such a joke. And by the way, Sport Track had Joe Ryan on the Red Sox, by the way, a couple minutes back. Not sure what's going on with that.
Is that right?
His Wikipedia was also his Wikipedia page was also changed.
Okay, so
no kidding.
Is that just like, you know, the Barstool crew getting after it? Like, how does that happen?
So in preparation, people are changing things like graphics for Yahoo Sports and for Fox Sports, and somebody hit send by accident.
On a bunch of different places, it sounds like.
So I think it was that close. I know that Chris Cotillo is reporting that the Red Sox were not even close on Joe Ryan. Respect to Chris Cotillo. I'm sure his information is great. They were close, and it failed at the end.
Okay, so let's see if we
and
can
I think it was over money. I think it was over Walker Buehler.
So let's see if we can get to the bottom
Meaning
of that
the
one.
Sox wanted to send back Walker Buehler?
The Red Sox wanted to send Walker Buehler to the Twins.
Then that was a ridiculous ask if that's the case.
And that's where the ownership is to blame because you needed to cut some payroll to bring back a star player.
So for them to do this deal, they had to cut payroll.
Yes.
I don't know if I believe that. I don't know if I believe, because again, Joe Ryan's not making much. So I don't know, that part of it I question, but I would love to get to the bottom of what went on with Minnesota. I mean, that was the deal, and you have the prospects to make it.
It'll come out eventually.
So, anyway.
I'm leaving.
Okay, see you later.
Okay, babe.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks for sticking around.
I thought we'd have more to talk about.
Yeah, I was hoping.
Oh, we did, but the Red Sox and ownership, they screwed it up.
For those of you still on the line, don't go anywhere because you can stick around. I'm happy to talk to you. Quite an eventfully uneventful day for the Red Sox. Be back in a minute.
The Baseball
you really, truly, firmly, deeply believe that you have figured something out so that you can crank out prospects like the big three, and Kyle Teal and Garcia and Arias and on, consistently. Now, some organizations can do that. That's one of the things the Dodgers have done. They've done a remarkable job at player development. And if the Red Sox have enough faith in their system to believe that they can continue to do this, then I would get that trade. It's just going to be a lot in cost. And you're going to look at the model, and the analytical model is going to sit there and tell you this is a bad trade. And you have to have the conviction to look at this, this objective thing that you use to help you guide a lot of your decisions, and say, you know what, screw you, we're not listening to you at this point because winning now is too important. And I can see that. As a fan, that's almost what you hope your team does, right? That they are so committed to winning that they say, forget now, or forget the future, let's focus on now. But I don't see this front office operating that way.
Time to make a trade that you might lose in the long run to help the team now. And by the way, but you have to be willing to make them and potentially lose a trade, run the risk that in the longer term, it wasn't the most practical thing. That's the whole gig when it comes to the trading deadline. It's the whole gig. The Red Sox weren't willing to make that move. And just as a point of comparison, okay, entering this season, the Red Sox and Seattle Mariners were similar teams in terms of their one-loss potential. I'd put them both in the mid to high 80s. The Mariners have been a bubble team for the playoffs the last couple of years. Right now, in the wild card race, the Red Sox are 59 and 51. The Mariners are 57 and 52. Boston's actually a game and a half ahead of the Mariners. They're ahead. Not by a lot, but they're pretty close. The Red Sox picked up a run-of-the-mill left-handed reliever and a starter who is, at best, the back end of the rotation. I mean, really didn't extend themselves on the deal at all. Meanwhile, the Mariners went out and acquired Josh Naylor and Eugenio Suarez from the Diamondbacks, two bats that could have impact. Suarez is among the major league leaders in home runs, and Naylor is a pretty good hitter. A DH, plays some first base, but a pretty good hitter from the left side. They kept all their starting pitchers. And remember that during the offseason, the Red Sox and the Mariners spoke to one another about, let's make a baseball trade. The Red Sox wanted to give up a hitter like a Tristan Casas for a pitcher that the Mariners have in their rotation. The Mariners didn't want to do the deal. The Mariners thought they would be better off waiting for the trade deadline and trading some of their prospects for pieces that they needed and keep their starting pitching. And I should tell you that organizationally, in terms of their minor league systems, the Mariners and the Red Sox had comparable rankings. Both were basically in the top 5, according to Baseball America. So, a lot of equals there. Seattle told you to go pound sand. We don't want to do business with you. We can do better elsewhere, and we can make a better deal without giving up our prospects. Your talent's not worth it. And they were right. So that's where we are. And you know, when you really get down to it, you know what the difference is between the Mariners and the Red Sox right now? And you can look at this any number of ways, and you should look at it however you want to. The Red Sox have won 4 championships in the last 20 years, and the Mariners have won 0. Ever. So the Mariners are more driven to win than the Red Sox are. Or, put another way, the Red Sox aren't as driven to win as Seattle is. You tell me how you want to present that. I know how I'm presenting it. You don't want to win as badly as other people anymore. You just don't. Joe's in Medford. Joe, go ahead.
Hey, how's it going? So I got a quick question after this that relates to all of our emotion as fans. I don't want to reiterate too much, but hearing you and Jimmy Stewart just talk about that, I got so genuinely excited. I called my father, and I heard the breaking news sounder, so I get even more pumped up. And then just that anticlimactic, like, wind taken out of your sails, like, quite frankly, pure and utter disappointment. Like, so, and since it got to, like, that high of a level, my question is...
Just quickly,
like,
Joe. Yeah, go.
Yep, sorry. Is it possible that got to the players and even our manager, and they hear that, and they got excited, and now they feel the same way?
Well, look,
yeah,
it's possible, sure. And I guarantee you that, look, they're human beings. Like, don't lose sight of this. I read you the comment by Trevor Story a couple of days ago, basically expressing faith in the organization that they would do something to help them. I don't think he had Dustin May and Steven Matz in mind when there were other names that moved that are better. And I'll tell you what, let's add Merrill Kelly to the list too. Now, most of you don't know who Merrill Kelly is. He's a veteran guy, been with the Diamondbacks. At the end of the day, Texas beat you to the punch for him. There's another team, the Rangers, that is vying for a playoff spot and has basically the same record as you. They have more recently won a World Series than the Red Sox have, and they still showed more of a desire. I think these deals often get done at the deadline based on sheer will and desire to win and compete. I think that's what separates them. I'll just say quickly, if I punch you up, I'm just going to ask people, try to get to your point quickly, because obviously a lot of you have something to say. Dean in Shrewsbury. Go ahead, Dean.
I can't believe that we didn't trade an outfielder for a number 2 pitcher. It's like having 4 Corvettes for 3 people, and you're pooping in the yard because there are no bathrooms in the house.
Yeah, so Dean, again, you always have an interesting way of looking at things. But yes, you have a surplus in some areas. It requires some creativity, and more than anything, it requires the will to make that deal. So look, I've told this story a million times. When the Red Sox acquired Josh Beckett during the, what was that, before the 2006 season? You know, they wouldn't have made that deal if Theo Epstein were still the GM. That deal was made in the period of time during which Epstein had resigned. Bill LaJoy oversaw the group, along with Larry Lucchino, that made that trade. It ended up winning the Red Sox a championship. They had to pay dearly for it. You could even say that the deal they made at the time was not that smart. It won them a championship. And they went back to the LCS again in 2008. And they lost in 7 games. Joe in a car. Joe, go ahead.
Hey, I just, first time caller, I cannot believe what just happened. I was listening to the end of your show, and I thought it was crazy that they weren't willing to give up Jarren Duran in part of the deal. And now, according to Jimmy Stewart's information, they could have done it just for prospects, and they still won't do it. But when are they ever going to make a move for a big player if they won't ever give up a prospect? Okay. Like that other caller said, what is the point of caring every year?
Okay, so Joe, look, they now in their defense, they did make one during the offseason. They traded for Garrett Crochet, and that was a big move and a good move. I would also argue that they had nothing in their, on their pitching staff or in their organization that was ready to come up and have an impact on the staff. And you could say they had Tanner Houck, they had Brian Bayo. I would say they went 50-50 on that one. Houck's in his late 20s. Houck's not a kid anymore. So Bayo, excellent. He's turned it around. He's pitched better. I still question whether or not he can beat a big team in a big spot. When there's pressure, how's he going to react emotionally? I still question that. But overall, they did make a move. When are they going to make the next one? Because the next one's the big one. Garrett Crochet gets you to 86 wins. Pedro Martinez back in the late 90s got you to a competitive level and made you a playoff team. Pedro's first year here, they went 92-70. And then when they had to, that was 98, Jimmy, right? So 98, they get smoked in the first round. They didn't become championship caliber until they put someone behind Pedro that could really help them. Let me squeeze in one more here, Jimmy. Sean in East Bridgewater. Go ahead, Sean.
Hey, yeah. What's up, Matt? real quick, I've literally in the past 3 hours have gone to, blaming Cora for being a pouty baby to understanding his plight. And every time we get to this point where he has a team that can actually compete and can actually be a contender, management pulls the rug out from under him every single year. So I just think that we just need to look at Cora with a little bit of a different lens and just give him a little bit of due for getting a team.
No, I got you. Listen, again, I've said this a million times. Everyone thinks I'm a Cora apologist. You know what wins games in the major leagues? Talent. Okay, now the manager has to keep the talent pointed in the right direction, but at the end of the day, it's about talent. The one thing the Red Sox teams all had in common, for the most part, with the exception of 2013, okay, that team was kind of fluky, and they won it, and good for them. You can't take it away. But talent-wise, they were the least talented of the group. All the other teams were loaded. They were all loaded. 2004 was stacked with all-stars. 2018 was a machine that never really hit a blip anywhere along the way. And 07 went wire to wire. So they all had talent. The manager's job is to then use it and keep it all pointed in the right direction. It's hard to win a World Series in baseball without talent. So how are you going to get it? They need front-end pitching. Whether they want to admit it or not, if they want to win a championship, they need front-end pitching. They balked at getting it. Or they were unwilling to part with the talent. They couldn't seal the deal. Or at the end of the day, they're not driven enough to do it. They have all the resources now. They have minor leaguers to trade. They have money to spend. What they don't have, it seems, is the same desire to win that they used to. I don't know that there's any other way to say it. So, again, all I ask when we come back is that if we punch up on the air, just try to get to the point quickly. But if you're frustrated, I feel you. Kevin Majori's got your headlines. Don't go anywhere.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius.
the phones here. I'll just say this quickly. A lot of you are pissed off. I can hear it in your voice. And you know what my answer to that is? It's a good sign. I haven't heard a lot of you be this pissed off in a long time, and I think it's a sign that you're starting to come back in. And so that part I'm happy about. Matt in the truck. Matt, what do you got?
Hey, Tony, I just got to say, I stand with Stu. 100%. I believe the report that the haggling with Joe Ryan was all over the money. And the fact that John Henry has tightened the purse string so much that you can't even squeeze pennies out of it is just a shame for this franchise and this team that he won't take what it's willing to spend to make this team better and win. Thanks.
Yeah, so, Matt, look, I think that, I mean, it's certainly all that stuff starts at ownership. I'll also say this. I think they've been trying on some level to get talent. I think they've been trying harder than they had been. And when I say that, I mean, look, they went out and made the deal for Crochet. Now, the Bregman deal, I give them a little less credit for because it's a really favorable contract for a big market team. It's a series of one-year deals. There's significantly less risk than there would normally be. And I don't think Breslow wanted to do that deal. I also go back to the offseason before, leading into the 2024 season. I think they wanted some of the players on that market, and they couldn't close the deals. That was on Breslow. So you have an inexperienced GM. You have an ownership that is seemingly, I say, changed its philosophy. But I would argue that they're just not as driven as they used to be. So I keep trying to avoid the word cheap because it's not like they're last in the league in spending. But they're not as driven as they used to be. When they first got here, they were flipping over cars to find players. And they were doing everything in their power to become a force and terrorize the rest of baseball. That's what they did. Brian's in Drake. Brian, what do you got? Jimmy Bryan on line 2? I don't know. Maybe he's not there. Try that again. Brian, you there?
Hey, sorry about that, man.
It's okay. What do you got?
I've been saying for weeks, I understand if the team doesn't want to invest in this current roster at the deadline, but at least all I wanted them to do was pick a lane. You look at some of the returns that teams got for, relief pitchers. You've got Chapman on a one-year deal for $10 million. He's not coming back. They're not going to pay him $20 million next year. Take what you can. And the last thing is... Okay,
Brian, I'm going to let you go, just because I can only take one point when I get this many people calling in. But here's the thing I'm going to push back on. Pick a lane. So again, that tells me you're a long-term thinker. They're in the playoffs. They have one of the spots. You can't sell when you have one of the spots. So that tells me you have no desire to even go into the playoffs. You just want to keep building and building and building every year and never end up at a destination. And that I don't get that. They're in. And you want to sell? So this thing about the appeal of tomorrow, I'm tired of it. And I'm tired as much of the fans who buy into it. Alan in Florida. Get Alan.
There's a good point. These fans should just get up in arms. They could have gotten Kelly, who's having a great year. He's 36, but would have fit right in. Ryan, I knew they weren't going to get. I mean, it's absurd. These people should be up in arms. They're a disgrace. May, are you kidding me? What are the Dodgers now using the Red Sox as a dumping ground for all their garbage? I mean, this team is an absolute disgrace. I hope they don't win another game all year. I hope they get knocked out of the playoffs. They don't understand that the American League stinks this year. They could be in the playoffs. They could get to the World Series if they went and got Ryan.
Alan, there's absolutely an opening there, and thank you for the call. And the point about Dustin May is a good one, too. Okay, the Dodgers are in it. The Dodgers are World Series, obviously favorites. And they're giving you one of their starting pitchers? What does that tell you? So they want nothing to do with them, and they've had all kinds of issues with keeping guys healthy. They've used something crazy like 35 pitchers this year, 38, 39 pitchers, some ridiculous thing. They're giving you one. Who did they trade for him again, Jimmy? One of the guys they get from the Giants?
James Tibbs III.
Wow. So again, think of that. They literally wouldn't even give up one of their own prospects for him, so they know he sucks too. Dustin May. Chris in New Hampshire. Again, Chris, what do you got?
Hey, how's it going, man?
What do you got, Chris?
I never heard anything. Yeah, I never heard anything about Evaldi at all, which I would have loved on a run.
Yeah, Evaldi wasn't traded because Texas is in it. They beat you to Merrill Kelly. Merrill Kelly was traded from Arizona to Texas. The Rangers added. Evaldi was not available. Texas is in it. They're trying to win again. John in the car. What do you got, John?
You got May when Ohtani just went out with an injury, Tony. How stupid does that sound?
Unbelievable.
To me, Tony, if you got Ryan and you got Jax, I don't care what the percentages said, you're a 50-50 shot against any team in the playoffs, period, end of sentence. And to me, I don't want to hear Theo's name anymore. He's no more than Bloom. He's no more than Breslow. He is a schmuck. If he can't go in that office and say, we need to buy now, they deserve it as a team, I hope this team as a unit turns around and says, stuff it up their ass, and they lose every game on purpose for the rest of the season. Because they don't deserve the effort that they gave them up until now.
Okay, so John, they're still going to compete, I hope. And I still want them to compete. Okay? Be a great story if after all this, Dustin May pitches well, Steven Matz finds some magic, they make the playoffs and they make a run. Be a great story. I'm not rooting for him to lose. But the part about Theo, I will say this. Boy, what a convenient and nice little thing for them to have in the organization. Theo has returned. He's there advising, and we're to believe that everything is okay because Theo has come back. Well, how much is he really involved? And if he is involved, put him out there. Put him out there. You want people to believe? Let them know Theo's involved and let Theo get out there. But my guess is Theo doesn't want that. Can't say I blame him. And I think very highly of Theo Epstein. Most people do, for obvious reasons. He's been successful just about everywhere he's gone, and he's broken two of the longest curses in the history of the sport, in the history of sports, period. So we all believe in Theo. But boy, what a nice little card that is for them to play that, well, no, Theo's in the organization. Is he? I think Theo's part of Fenway Sports Group. And the question is, at this stage, how much does Theo really want to push back against ownership anymore? Because let's not forget, he's part of the Fenway Sports Group. He's part of ownership. He's not part of baseball operations. Justin and Saugus. Go ahead, Justin.
Matt, if John Henry was as aggressive, spending 1/10 of what he just did with Liverpool, the Red Sox could be legitimate contenders in the AL because it blows this year. He isn't interested in winning with his team anymore, and it's time for this old gold to sell this team to someone who actually cares, is aggressive, and wants to win. Thanks.
Okay, so Justin, look, I go back to the offseason with the spending because that's always the opportunity to spend the most money. I've heard different things. That they pivoted to Garrett Crochet because they didn't get Max Fried, or that they wanted both. And I would tell you this, if you had Max Fried and Garrett Crochet at the front end of your rotation this year, you might be in first place already, or something close to it. And the deadline would have had a whole different slant on it. Now, the question then becomes, why weren't they willing to extend a little further to get Max Fried? Because the Yankees did. They gave him an 8th year. 7 years, 8 years, what's the difference? Just do it. And I know you have to draw a line somewhere. I get the concept of negotiating and bargaining. But when you want to go that extra mile, you will. You'll outbid the St. Louis Cardinals for David Price and ultimately force him to come. Now, that was a mistake. Sort of. In 2018, he was a big reason that you won. Maybe not the biggest. But he was good in the postseason that year. And as he said, what was the comment he made again at the end of the playoffs that year? I hold the trump card now, or something like that. That whole story changed, and we can all look back now and say that the Price experience was, unpleasant, particularly for him. But at the end of it, he won. He did win. Jimmy, what do you got?
Truck read.
Oh, my gosh. Hold on. I probably threw it away. Let me see if I can find it.
Sorry, Tony.
No, don't apologize. Hold on. I'm trying to find the freaking thing. Oh,
Should
here
be
it
after
is.
Bigelow T.
Okay, here it is. I got it. 6:50 p.m. So this time tomorrow, it's a big announcement, actually. This time tomorrow, we are giving you a chance of winning a brand new Ford F-150, courtesy of the McGovern Automotive Group. So all you have to do is listen for your Instagram username to be announced. And when you hear it, you have 985 seconds, which is 16 minutes and 25 seconds, to call us back on the contest line, 617-931-0985, and you qualify for the truck. All the details on how to qualify are available at 985thesportshub.com. And again, at this time tomorrow, we're going to give you a chance to win a Ford F-150 courtesy of the McGovern Automotive Group. One more time, if you hear your Instagram username announced, you have 985 seconds to call us back on the contest line to qualify for the truck. Once more, all the details are available at 985thesportshub.com. Jimmy, you want to just go for the next couple minutes here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lightning round of the baseball hour.
Okay, there we go. Cliff in Weymouth, who said he feels betrayed. Cliff, what do you got?
Yeah, Jimmy, you took with so much anticipation about Joe Ryan, and then the letdown. They should call the trade deadline the B-trade deadline because Red Sox fans get betrayed every year. Thank you.
Get it. Okay, yes, very clever. Let's go to Steve in Quincy. Steve, what do you got?
Hey, Tony, real fast, do you think with the potential of a lockout next year that John Henry doesn't want to have any of these big contracts, not knowing what's going to happen with the CBA and how things could be changed? So he's trying to keep all these kids and not go over his, sort of set price in his mind, because sort of like what happened in the strike in 95 where, Duquette thought he was the smartest guy in the room and was going to have all this extra money. So I don't know if John Henry is thinking something like that because of the strike to be.
So, Steve, look, it's an interesting question. Here's what I would tell you, though. If the owners implement a lockout, I can't imagine, I don't know all the repercussions of that in terms of whether they are bound to the guarantees in those contracts, because ultimately they're paying the players to play. So if there is no CBA, I don't think anybody gets paid. Owners or players. Now, again, you can draw the distinction, and you're right to. I'm not mocking you for it. You're right to draw the distinction and say, well, wait a minute. If the owners shut the doors, the players can say, hey, we didn't tell you to shut the doors. You still owe us. So I don't know if that would get litigated. I don't know, what the language is. But without a CBA, the game doesn't exist. So without a binding bargaining agreement between the owners and the players, the league doesn't exist. So you raise an interesting question. But then how do you explain all the stuff from the previous years with the Red Sox? Alex Cora, and this is a parting thought. Alex Cora has all but lost his mind at the trading deadline the last few years because the organization did relatively nothing to invest in the team. In Houston, the year they traded Christian Vasquez, Chaim Bloom, Jimmy, was he with the team or he flew down there? I think he flew down there to address the team after the trade deadline because the players were so upset. He had to fly down there. So it's not like this is the first time they've taken this approach. All I can tell you is this, and I'm going to say this carefully, and I say it the way I say it because I know the Red Sox are sensitive to it. They tell us they want to win, and I agree. I mean, who wants to lose? Nobody wants to lose. But are they as driven to win as they were when they first got here? That's the real question. Think about the way they acted back in 03, 04, 07, and look at how they act now. And in those years, trade for Curt Schilling. They traded for Cliff Floyd back in 2002. People forget that. It was a big trade at the time. Eric Gagne in 2007. Matsuzaka at the time was a historic signing on the part of the franchise. And they posted they put up a posting fee of $53 million that blew everybody out of the water. Do you remember that? Now, not only will they stop short of doing stuff like that again, they won't give up prospects either, because those are the way, generally won't give up prospects, because that's the way you control your payroll. So lots to think about. But if you're frustrated, I get it. Let's see how Cora feels and what he says in the next couple of days. Craig Breslow speaks tonight at 7 o'clock, I believe. So hopefully Joe Murray will have some of that sound for you as well. Kevin Majori is going to have your headlines. Have as good a night as you possibly can. Obviously, there's no game tonight, but Joe Murray's going to be worth a listen. So do tune in. We'll catch you next time.
This is the Baseball Hour on the Sports Hub.